forget. All right. Welcome everyone to this month's Wednesday with MDriven. And the agenda is a bit open today, so I'm not 100% certain what we're going to talk about. So do we have any ideas or suggestions? I know, Lars, you might be best equipped to talk about what we do with different deployment things. And yeah, Damien, you have the issues. Sorry?
I can talk from the heart about that.
Yeah.
I haven't planned it, but
And you, Damien, you have I'm sorry I haven't been able to answer your latest emails, but it has been hectic these last couple of days. So you are in the process of upgrading to VS 2026.
Yes, and actually an interesting discovery, which I talked to you a little bit about, not necessarily unique to this problem, but I've started using Google's AI to ask for help with configuration things, because it's effectively the same conversation that you and I have, except it's faster.
Yeah.
I suspect it's not. I suspect when I'm getting answers from you, you've got a deeper insight into what,
I think the main difference is when I get uncertain on something, I get quiet. But Gemini just bashes on through.
It's very interesting. This is probably well out of scope for this meeting, but I'm half tempted to see if there's an AI out there that I could hand like my entire code base to, and I have an engineering journal. It's just a text document that I've been writing since I started this project. So it dates back 20 years. And I feel like just giving it my entire code base and my entire engineering journal and go, okay, let's build some software. Lord knows how that'll turn out. But
yeah.
It's impressive how much it knows about MDriven structure and the way, our tools work together. And I mean, it could just end up, I'll let you know when I'm done. So I've been working on this upgrade to 2026, and my model is complete and done, supposedly. Now I keep my model project in a separate solution in Visual Studio than my interface, just for the audience's benefit here. So that actually introduces some complexities, because you can have your model code compiling and working, but if it's referencing things different than your UI, and your UI is pointing to your model, you can get some really weird configurations. And I think Hans and I have, bashed our heads a few times on this problem. But anyway, it's so far the model's working, and the UI I'll know later on, probably today. But if that actually manages to get me to point B, I'll be impressed. And I think it's something that we should be aware of. And I think for MDriven as a company, this is pretty powerful, because it's basically tech support, which is very time consuming. But the upside is, I think a UI is especially effective at helping in our problem space, because software is so rigorous. The names and objects and these sorts of things are very structured. And so that's inherently natural for an AI to use. So I'm really intrigued. On another side, I was working on a programming problem kind of unrelated to MDriven, where I wanted, in one of my PDF reports, I wanted to be able to put a little camera icon next to a picture we were outputting. And it didn't work when I emailed it to all, so lots of different email clients. Specifically Yahoo email, for some reason, didn't render it, and every other email client did. So long story short, I spent a day with Gemini back and forth, and we coded it a different way, but at the end of the day, we fixed the problem, which was shocking. I mean, and again, it probably would have been more efficient if I were working with a real human, but by the time you wait for a real human to give you answers, the extra overhead of Gemini being sort of dumb is probably not that expensive.
No, I agree. It's a super good strategy to learn what the rest of the world, what someone in the world knows. Not necessarily all of the rest of the world knows, but at least, so even if it's an extreme specialization and a niche thing, chances are that Gemini knows about it. So that's really, really good. And so Daniel, jump in.
Well, I just wanted to add that I've had similar experiences with large language models as well, Copilot in my case. It's very useful until it's confidently wrong.
Yes. So
I asked it for help with some complicated Linux audio things, and it led me down a complete rabbit hole, which didn't have the technical prerequisites for ever being able to work, because it tried to mix and match components that simply didn't exist on my system. So
that's you need to be aware to be skeptic, but at least it gives you ideas on what you might try. But as soon as you're in an area where it actually, due to circumstances, is impossible, it won't tell you that.
No.
It will just bash on through every wall there is. Say that we're going to do it this way. And if we just continue a little bit more, and then you end up in this loop. So when something doesn't work and you tell it doesn't work, then it goes back and tries it again in a different way. So, and you need to be aware of those things happening.
Yes.
But at least I believe that the MDriven approach with modeling is a very much, since I often express it as the degrees of freedom are fewer when expressing your business problem in an MDriven model than it would be using code. And an engineer might think that, or a coder say that, well, that's not good because we want a lot of degrees of freedom. But what is entailed in the degrees of freedom is also all the bugs. So using the modeling strategy is there's a lot fewer bugs that can fit within the paradigm, and having that as a base is a very good thing if an AI should code, because then it's reduced to only doing the model thing, and then once the model is sound and fine, then it could make the model in this coding environment, make code of this model, because then it's not a discussion, then it's deterministic model to code. And then we have had the benefit of a reduced set of degrees of freedom to actually solve the problem, and then just transpose that into code. So what we probably will see during the MDriven future are code generation backends totally driven by some other process than something that we have engineered. Just push out code in Python that does exactly this system. And if that is what the benefit of that would be would it probably be like processing speed or something, but it wouldn't be necessarily changeability, because it's always hard to change a complex thing without destroying something that was important in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I will have something that just as an example. I'm thinking of Damien here, and this is not a child's thing, although it looks like it. So yeah, so right, so this is the tablet in a child's tablet thingy. So
Yeah.
you can drop it in a warehouse floor, and you can hold it like this, and the camera there is useful, right? And I'm amazed how good this has turned out, because, well, I can be seen in the camera, right? But it is actually for QR code reading. So in this case, I just asked the AI to generate a component that is AngularJS, and then I gave it a component that we have, so it can look at the tiny little thing that is a bit special for MDriven. And it basically came up with this right away. And it binds perfectly easy to a field in the UI, and it sends it off, and the UI reacts directly to the QR code being read. And then I can just, act on the change and then do things on screen. So this is an inventory thing, so you can read the shelf, and then you can read the items in the warehouse, and it puts those items on the shelf real quick, and other things I'm developing with it. So I just wanted that as an example of how flexible it is to use both AI, but also put this in. And one of the things that you see when you do AI also, I'm sure you feel the same, is that how do you keep the AI from going completely off the track at some point and then be irrevocably off track? So you kind of need to take a new thing and you copy in what you have started talking about, and it's like, hey, get on track, because it can't do too much, then it gets completely weird. And that's a question then that comes to all of us, when we look at how MDriven could be worked into, how do we use AI? And that is because it's in the beginning, right, when you have solved a problem, it feels easy and it understands you. And then it goes, either it goes wrong, but the other thing is that it doesn't know enough to, of course, understand what you want specifically to change. So that's like, Hans, you are the main guy in coming up with new ways to do things in the MDriven designer. Is like, how could we have a way to express that I want changes in this area alone, and don't do too much. And
Yeah, I think it's a good segue to something I could show.
This hasn't been planned.
No.
No, but this is a powerful topic. And I think as we're moving into Visual Studio 2026, it's time we had a real sense of this and, started trimming our sails to sail in that direction. I think it's a big deal, especially for such a specialized tool as we're using.
Yeah. So
because I would like to
MDriven designer now
say, I want to make these changes to the view model, but then don't go too far, and there's a lot of things you don't know.
Yes. So I think that the concept of how do you keep the context on what it should do and what it should avoid is really, really important, so that it doesn't think that it knows everything just because I've asked it about something. And these things with vibe information from the diagram, I think it's the right approach to limiting the scope, because if I start with a completely blank diagram, like in this case, the model is not blank, but the diagram is blank. And then I can say that, then I can wipe information from here, and possibly I need to track car repairs in
Oh, can I also just mention another thing I did? That's kind of cool. And so if anyone here in the group wants a half-baked model for it to continue with, I'm working on it. It's the AI integration with Gemini, and it's turning out to be really interesting. And I realize that you need a lot of editability in your prompt work. So I don't think it's a good way to just hard code it, because it needs to be quite flexible. But you can do it really, really interesting things. Again, if I can mention this one, right? So I had the problem that there was just a lot of numbers on some boxes. And it would be really neat if I could just hold it there and it kind of read all the numbers on the boxes and looked it up and did things and put proper things and printed stickers. And the AI is amazing at just, sending it off the whole image, and it says, it came back with, I read the numbers on the boxes and they are these things. Like, that's quite amazing. So, again, I don't know, Damien, if it's something you would like in your, I'm just assuming all the time that you're still in the workshop, but maybe that's wrong.
I'm never, but that's okay. No, I agree. I think that this sort of tech is something that will prove valuable for us. And to your point, this is just a side, but yesterday when I was trying to figure out some compiler errors, one of the errors I got, I couldn't copy and paste the text. So I just screen captured the whole message box and gave that to the AI, and it read it, no problem. That's pretty cool. Like it's like it's like having a teenager, right? They have a lot of energy, but they think they know too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this case, I just wiped that I needed a car repair to keep track of car repairs, and it gave me these classes. And of course, this is the context that it now has. But if I want to do changes, we're used to it redoing everything. But now I can wipe from this diagram alone and say that I want some changes, but it should only change things here. That makes it possible that I can have like 10 diagrams with different contexts and just ask for changes for that context. And I think that's really good approach to keep things stable. And if I were to, and I can mix between these contexts by just dragging in something from another diagram. I guess I have the sys user here.
You're meaning that the diagram is it in itself a context?
Yes. So the vibe is contained to this diagram. So if I wanted to know about sys user, I can simply drag it in, and then I can wipe again and say that yeah, I can remove this, and then I say what do you call a person that actually works there? It's repairman, technician. Introduce
And a technician would be a special type of system user, so it would be a superclass probably.
And make it have one one-to-one relation to this user to make
Does it know about the embedded problem?
let's see.
Yeah.
Not necessarily super good because it did it twice. At least it did it and didn't change anything of the other things. Let's see, is this really... So if I were to save this, it would complain to say that has multiple features because this is double. And in order to remove that problem, I would drop one of these and delete. But then
Why did it make two, do you think?
Oh, cosmic radiation. It could be anything. And this is the typical embedded problem, which we have discussed from time to time, that if we have one-to-one, there's no obvious reason for where the framework should put the key. And then it sort of could also put the key on both places, but that would introduce a case where we sometimes would risk having inconsistencies, that this one points to one technician and that technician points to another sys user. So we want to avoid that, to be normalized in the database. And in order to do that, we can either explicitly say that one end shouldn't be embedded by switching this to false. Then it's okay. Should be okay. Okay. It's the view models it's complaining about now, so we can leave those. But another approach, which I actually think is...
Should it be composite as well, Hans?
Yes, that's probably better, that the sys user, if that is dropped, the technician should also be dropped, or depending on the perspective, if the technician is dropped, the sys user we want to drop that. And if that is the case, we would set this as composite and say that this end is actually owned by the technician. And doing that, aggregation composite, then we have also given it enough information to know that where is the best place to put the key, and at least it will pick decide which is the embedded key there. And so that's probably a better way to make the one-to-one problem disappear. So if I say that if I want to have some kind of association between the technician and the car, I would wipe that as well. Let's see what it does then. A technician works on a car and there is a link object where we track a tie used. So what we wanted to do is to introduce an association between technician and car.
I would think it should be between technician and car repair.
Yeah, correct.
Be interesting to see what the AI does.
when I see this, maybe we should have a different word for this more precise work than vibing, Hans.
Yeah, yeah. So it did what I asked it to, that there's a car service log, and I guess that would be okay. But then the car repair is, yeah. So depending on the perspectives, the service log in this case is owned by the car, and the technician reacts to the service log. It could be okay. So this is one way to have it manage or help you think and set words to your model, adding the obvious attributes that it think should be needed for these kind of things. And what it does is also maintain a set of view models for that, for the information that it has done. So I dropped a few things, and then those dropped things were available in the view models, and then I get these errors. So I need to clean up the view models. But I think this is a good way to use the AI to help you think about a business problem and a solution to a business problem. And once you have done that way, we can also have it to generate some test data for the classes that we have, so that we can more easily see if this is a good way to work or not.
And if I can dream a bit, Hans, I would like it to be the way it is when you work and document some now, that you had the AI on left or right, where you have the chat, and then you have like the model, and then you can type and it does changes and it doesn't save right away, so that you can see what's happening, and then you can maybe tweak yourself, and then you can continue like a buddy that you talk to.
Yeah. So maybe we should have the and why, as you say, might be a word that is tainted and leads the wrong way. So we should have a section over here where we have this chat with the AI, so we see that what we have done and where we are going.
And it can say also what I'm doing. So it can say, then I suggest you do this and this and this. And then you say thumbs up. It's like, or a button. I think you could say it's like, do it, but also like, yes. And then it does it, and then you see. So you get this interactivity, because that's also a powerful thing. One of the, you could say, problems with when I've used it is that it generates code, but you can't like see the steps, and it doesn't update, which I think would be a powerful thing here, because the model is there and you can see it when it's changing. So it's not just flowing up, 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 up. You can actually see the changes. That would be powerful.
So are we using it primarily for modeling or other parts of our efforts as well?
So one thing is for modeling the information, but we have these options on a few different places. If I clean this one up, I can just remove this one, I think, and the whole. I would be able to sort of get some test data for this. I think I need to refresh this service. It's going to start that server up. So then I'm going to show how to generate some test data for this. So going here, there's no data in car or customer or anything like that. And then you can go to the debugger and start that, and then wipe from the diagram. So this was diagram 2 that I were on here. So I can give the diagram 2, which then is isolated to just these classes that actually are on diagram 2. And then I can say that wipe some data from that diagram. So what it does then is have access to the classes on that diagram and thinks a bit about what makes a good customer value and a customer car. What should a car for that customer have for attributes, etc. So that is a potential that at least I see as time saving if you have a lack of imagination and the data isn't flowing like from a faucet.
You'll have your vehicle or other keyboard mashing.
Yeah. As you see it from the all those that do commercials, they use Latin all the time. Lorem ipsum everywhere. So now it have created a lot of objects. It hasn't saved them, but there are 38 objects created. I don't know what they are, but we could just check them in dirty objects. And if we were to just double click one of these, we can see that this happens to be a customer, which has the name of Galactic President. This might be a bit influenced by the prompt that I gave it, that it should try to be funny. Let's see if it has any cars. So the Galactic President has 3 cars. So it also sets associations, which I think is great. And only the associations that actually are available on the diagram. So I can control it that way. And it has a Scooby-Doo car, which is of make Mystery Machine. So if we were to say that, this was fun, this is great, I can save this, that would mean that my running application now immediately should have, I need to restart it because the debugger, since I used the XML file, it's not necessarily picking up the changes that I did to via the debugger. And is there a car document? Yeah, and then I can see there are car repairs also on this. So it replaced the left-hand drive wheel with the right-hand drive wheel. Multiverse compatibility. Yeah, so it's I think it's great if you're in a demo situation and you want to have consistent test data that's associated by all the associations that you have and things like that, then it can truly help. And of course, this is just ordinary view models. So if you feel the need for something more, you can of course just add that yourself in situ, so to speak. And if there's an attribute that you want that doesn't exist, some new thing, it will say that well, you probably should add this new attribute, some new thing to class car repair, and suggest that it should be a type string, and that might be okay. And then you're done and can put values into that straight away. And since that was on this was on the car repair document, car repair, it also ends up in the diagram. And this that we maintain the classes in the diagram directly, even if we add attributes somewhere else, is both good and bad, because that means that the diagram isn't really stable. It can grow if you add a lot of attributes from other places, and you would really like your diagram to look like this. So that's why we introduced the function with a stable diagram. So you can, for each diagram, you can say that it should be stable over time. And if it's stable, it says so up here that it's a stable diagram. You can change that to being a dynamic diagram again. But once it's stable, if you were to add attributes on car repair, over here in the tree only, since it's stable, it doesn't show up immediately in the diagram. And that's good because it's stable, but of course it's bad because now I don't know that the new attributes are there. And I can always go to the auto diagram to see that there are new attributes there. But what if I want to introduce them in this diagram then? That's why we have the reintroduce functionality to introduce pick from model. I can see by checking the checkboxes here that these two attributes are on car repair, but they are not on this diagram. And then I can just check those and apply, and then the diagram is updated even though it is a stable diagram. So those things are fairly new and work in harmony to keep your diagrams from changing without your knowledge, or without your intent, I should say. So that's...
I think that was a great addition. If you have a lot of big diagrams, it's really annoying that they get filled up with things that doesn't really matter there.
Mm. Yeah.
So no OpenClaw situation.
Sorry?
OpenClaw, that saga, the meta AI that went crazy.
No.
No.
No, we're trying to keep them in a tight leash. But one thing, another thing where we use the LLM to help is if, let's say we have, this should be a derived attribute. So I'm going to change this to derived. And then I'm going to set the OCL for this to go from self to car to yeah, license plate, and then I say whatever, and then this link pops up with which is called second pair of eyes, which is just a button to click to get some insights on. It takes the expression and also the error and comes back with something that might help you. So the expression self car license plate whatever contains an error, mistakes the attribute self car license plate evaluates to system string, and system string does not possess a member named whatever. The error message correctly states that attributes like license plates cannot have members access in this manner. Okay, so then I realize my mistake and I say as string instead. I can still ask for second pair of eyes on this. And of course, this where I usually use it is when there's a lot of Boolean logic with and, nested and ors, and a few nots. And then you like we have these on the view models, the read-only expressions. Will this be read-only or read-write for certain sets? So now it says there's no evident errors, and the expression is not complicated, and this comes from the prompt that I gave it some default for this function, that it should check for mistakes and complications and possibility to simplify. So here it says that the property is already, yeah, the property car. Yeah, it thinks that as string is a bit overkill here because license plate is already a string. So that's also a fair, simple use of LLM straight out of the box. And for the view models, we also have it, but it doesn't work super good because it gets confused. And I've asked Gemini what the best approach would be. And then it said, well, since LLMs are mostly trained on HTML, probably we should have a mid format to first make it HTML, and from HTML then make it back to the view model structure. And I started to play a bit with that, which I think I showed last time, and I call that inspirational lift, because that would make it possible to copy other people's HTML. So if I want to, let's go to Amazon here because I love that site. Okay, that opened up in a new, it was the ad. Okay, I don't know why it started to open up in a new. Uh-oh. Too bad. Like that. Let's see. Can I close this? Yes. So what I can do here is, if I see something that I like, I can sort of select and steal things. So I like this stroke color and font and everything, and Yeah, they have their own font, Amazon Ember, but the size, and I can make a style of that, my style, and apply that. Then I should have a my style, which I can put in, so I can sort of lift things from other pages straight into my own model and view model. Actually, this should be placing container to work best. And let's see what these are. So I can add an image, and it ends up here, and then I need to save for it to load, and to have to pick images like that. And there, what I meant by having the between format as HTML is that having this is HTML taken from the web anywhere just by following an address. But if you have an LLM that has produced some suggested HTML for you, you can paste it in here, and then it will render that here, so you can pick parts from that to build on your view model the way you want. And what's on the agenda to do, which is a tool that we don't have today, but I think would be fairly within our grasp, is, and now I guess I need to be, yes, Lars.
Can lift this up. I was supposed to talk a bit about our deployment stuff also, so we do that before we run out of time.
Yeah. You take over. Should I go to a page or something, show something here?
Well, I guess you could show the downloads page. Maybe that's best, but otherwise it's not like I have something specific there. Charles, otherwise he could probably talk more about it, or Edgar, but we are working on a whole bunch of deployment features. Yeah, I guess they don't take that long to say, but we are now available on Docker desktop. On Docker Hub, so you can easily deploy on Docker desktop or Docker server. There are YAML files to download that does the deployment. Charles just showed me earlier. Maybe Charles, are you ready to show this, or are you?
What is it called? Docker desktop.
Docker Hub.
Docker
Hub is the place where we now upload complete servers, and so that's where we present our turnkey and MDriven servers. Then on our website, we make YAML files, which is files that show a whole configuration. So you can say, I'll download the YAML file for having an MDriven server with a turnkey server that uses Postgres, for example. And also how Charles showed me today how he has integrated so that you will get a Microsoft style file interface directly. So you can use your web browser to manage files and see logs and things like that. It makes it super easy to deploy a new server. And it will also make it much easier to deploy more complex setups. Something you cannot download right today, but what we are looking to do is that so you can say, I want 3 front-end turnkey servers and 1 backend, and I want this to be with this kind of SQL server. And so please set that up for me. Or there will be the ability to say, I want this setup and I want it to scale this way. So under a certain load, it will spin up more containers to handle that load. So that's the part where you as a developer has more ability to try. And I think it opens up for a lot of interesting things where you don't need to think that much when you want to test something, or you can also more easily have test and dev environments so that you can easily then say, hey, let's take the database, let's take this and spin up a fresh copy and see if it behaves the same way. Or you want a fresh copy to put load onto, that would be another scenario. So that's what we're doing for that. But then we're also using it ourselves. Yes, Charles, please.
I just can add on a little bit. If Hans
Please.
can navigate to the wiki and search for Docker. Hello, everyone. I'm Charles.
Charles.
Yeah, so
He's the
there's that
real one
article
doing things.
deploying.
I'm just
The second
pretending I
one,
know.
this will be incorporated in that, and it was the second, the one which has deploying MDriven turnkey and server with. If you go back to the search results.
Okay. This one.
Yes. So we tried to, as we are making advancements in software development, we're also trying to make advancements in deployment. So this will give you the full details you will need to get started and test anything. So we have different setups. For now, we are running them in pairs. Definitely, if you're running MDriven server, you run it with turnkey. And then you have a proxy server to route all the traffic to the 2 applications so that they are not open. And so we have different combinations and we plan to add on those. So it's a matter of just what you download here specifically is a Docker Compose file, and it's a matter of running it. So below on this same page,
the Docker Compose is just a script that pulls the specific containers from Docker Hub.
yes, that's what it is. So it has everything already set up. It's a matter of just following the instructions actually on this page, and you can give it a test. And yeah, it's not.
And we also talked about data migration. So what we want to do with this is the ability to make it easy for you to run on SQL Link, and then what if I should do Postgres instead, and bring your data some easy way. So we want to make the MDriven server to use the tools that we already have in what we call the migrate thing over here. So this will be somehow integrated, because what this migrate thing does is to pull out all the data within the database to a big XML file, and then at a later point can take all that data in that XML format and push it to any other MDriven server that has the same or MDriven system that has the same model.
And then I can continue. So thank you, Charles. And I think you should be the one that shows this more in detail in another Wednesday. I can mention also, again, it's Edgar who is doing most of these things, but we are building, and I think soon, let's say 1 or 2 months, there will be no, let's say there's a little bit different. There will be a test environment where you can just go to our portal or the main site, log in, and you can ask for it to automatically spin up one of these combinations on one of our servers if you want to test something. They will probably be short-lived, like test environments there. The other one will be that will come a bit later is, again, you can do test things where you can ask our thing to spin up, for example, something on Amazon Web Services. But more importantly, maybe for someone like Damien that, like there was some pain in setting up and moving to servers, right, Damien? So what we are trying to do is that if you were to go to Microsoft or Amazon, you can then take those deployment, like you can create a key there, and you can give that key to our deployment, to our servers, and it will run the deployment like on your behalf from our service. So you can manage the settings and things on our website, and it will deploy using your things. And then of course you can cut off our things from Amazon, so MDriven don't have any access, but you can also leave it there, and then you can just push a button that says update, like follow the stable thing, and it will call Amazon with its API and push new versions. And that's one of the great things that one can see with the containerization here is, and Charles, you can probably mention more about that. I've just seen it, that in the, like you could say, in the main file system, you can see your database file, you can see your settings files, but that's all you need to see, like in the main file system, because the container then contains all the files needed to run the server, which provides a very nice separation of concerns. You can just deploy a new version of the container and it will read the files, and you can also, exactly what to back up, because that's what's on your main file system, and the other things is hidden, you could say, in the container. Right, Charles? That's what it is.
Yeah. It's we are designing it in a way that you maintain a copy of the important things on your host machine so that you can always back them up. Then as for the MDriven server and MDriven turnkey files, those you can always upgrade or replace them with new files. But then you ensure that your admin database is intact, and also if you're using any other external database, it's also backed up well. So in case of any issue that application stops and maybe it's corrupted or anything, you can always rerun new versions of the MDriven server and turnkey, and you're good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, super. So we're looking forward to when all that is done, so we can click like crazy to spin up things. So we need to wrap up. Time flies. Thank you very much for showing up today, and see you in a month. And I'm gonna try to answer your questions tomorrow, Damien. Thank you.
I think I'm okay, Hans. I'll reach out if I need your help, but I'm
Oh, great.
I'll work with the AI.
You have to replace Hans with
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have mixed
Super.
feelings. Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Good.
all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.